Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Ryan on a blue-red CounterBurn version of Tron, and Turtle playing a black-green aggro deck, similar to the Aristocrats builds that were in Standard during, say, Innistrad era. He's going to have Carrion Feeder, Mortician Beetle, and a whole bunch of bodies to sacrifice to those creatures to kind of trump anything that's been printed as far as power and toughness goes. His creatures can get extremely large and difficult to handle. Once you get past like 4 toughness, it becomes very difficult to take things down with a single card. And once you start getting high enough, I mean, it just really isn't an option. And he's got several threats in the deck that can reach that level of power and toughness pretty quick, so Turtle throwing that one back. The winner of this will make the elimination rounds here. The winner of the tournament will get that Turtle playmat that Ryan is playing on. One of a kind. And will immortalize their victory, along with the spot on our wall of legends here at the shop. Every ELD Open winner has their picture on that wall. And that is a permanent part of the decor of the store. Will one of these two be added to it? Carrion Feeder for Turtle, probably about the best start he can have. If he can get some bodies into this, he can get a very quick clock and get outside of burn range fast. But no, Ryan has the Lightning Bolt, something that's not typically expected from Tron. This is his own build, as far as I can tell. Has Ulamog's Crushers in there to make use of the Tron mana. We'll see what else he has. Colony Heart Garden from Turtle gives a body to sacrifice to some of these future creatures. And now Brindle Shoal, just a 1/1 for now. When it dies, he'll get a 3/3 boar. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that Carrion Feeder to go along with it. That Carrion Feeder meeting that removal early. Just devastating here. Now a Blister Pod, yet another creature that goes along quite well with the sack outlets. There's a new card in Throne of Eldraine which may be a good fit. It allows you to sacrifice creatures to put permanent +1/+1 counters on it, though I believe it requires mana to do so, which is not as exciting. Might have a spot in this deck. Compulsive Research now for Ryan, going to allow him to draw 3 and then discard a land or 2 cards. Tron heavy enough in lands. Pretty much always going to be discarding one. Not much of a clock here for Turtle. That Carrion Feeder. Oh, and now Lightning Bolt, playing it on the Blister Pod. So there was a Rancor targeting the Blister Pod. I think I would have rather seen that on the Brindle Shoal. That would have at least given him a 3/3 if Ryan had an answer. Instead, he's got a 1/1 body, still 2 power on board. Rancor countered as there was no legal target on resolution. Expedition map. And looks like he's got a mine and tower already. And now another mine. So he'll be able to pull together the full Urzatron next turn. And from there, Turtle may find himself ice skating uphill. I see a Bloodthrone Vampire in his hand. This is a 1/1 that can get pretty big pretty fast, and that's going to get Prohibit. A hard counter with some limitations. Counters a spell that has a converted mana cost 2 or less. Then you can kick it to counter 4 or less. Now Expedition Map being sacrificed to go get that power plant. And there's the Ulamog Crusher. This is looking pretty bad here for Turtle. This Crusher could do some significant damage if it's able to make him sacrifice his mana base. There'll be no way back into this game. The Annihilator is 2, so he's got a plant token, which is a pretty easy thing to sacrifice. He's got a 1/1. Another Blister Pod, so it looks like Turtle may be able to keep permanents in front of it. And chump block it for a little bit, but the clock is ticking. And now Mortician Beetle. Oh, he's got a mana leak for it. Devastating. Mortician Beetle actually would have lined up quite well with Ulamog Crusher's Annihilator trigger, is that is sacrificing permanents. So that would actually allow the Mortician Beetle to grow potentially to the same size or greater to trade with the 8/8 or just beat it in combat. It looks like that is not going to be the plan. From here, we've got a Muldrifter hardcast thanks to that Prophetic Prism. Arkham's Astrolabe is out of the format, which means every deck but Tron going to have a tough time with this mana filtering. I suppose Affinity also ran that card alongside Atog. Just totally fine in that deck as well. But certainly the aggro-style decks that were using Astrolabe, those are gone. But Tron really doesn't care that much about spending an extra 2 mana. And now we've got a couple of triggers here. A 3/3 Boar and some Eldrazi spawn. Ryan has a Lightning Bolt for the Boar. And Turtle's counterplay now looks to be very limited. Ryan way ahead on cards in hand and certainly mana, with Tron available and Turtle doing all of this on 2 mana up until now. Now with 3 mana. He does have cards that can actually just straight up kill this Crusher, like Tragic Slip. A Rancor coming down. And all the lightning bolts here. Ryan taking out another creature with the Rancor. Oh, did that Rancor go back to his hand? That actually should be in the graveyard. Oh, interesting. I think Ryan may not be aware of that. I think he actually waited for it to resolve. And they're going to go ahead and scoop it up. That'll be very important potentially in games 2 and possibly 3. So if Ryan lets that Rancor resolve and then lightning bolts the creature, then Rancor will return to hand. But if he actually removes the target before the Rancor resolves while it's on the stack, it'll be counted on resolution, as there'll be no legal target left. It's an enchantment with just a single target, and if a spell with a target has no legal targets, it is countered on resolution. That is a rule that I wouldn't be surprised if they tighten up a little bit in the future. There are a couple of corner cases where cards do more than just, say, return a creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. It's not entirely obvious why you wouldn't still get to draw the card, even if the creature's not there. They could have a do as much as you can rule down the line. It's not exactly intuitive, but as the rules are printed, that rancor definitely getting countered. And I suppose any future versions would counter it as well. So hypothetical rules aside, we are moving into game number 2. Turtle on this Aristocrats build. Likely going to want a blazing fast start. But the tricky thing is keeping his best threats outside of bolt range. This could bode better for him, leading out on a Colony Heart Garden. Getting a body. If he can get a few bodies to go along with any type of carrion feeder style threat, he could be in much better shape. And no, it looks like he's stuck on just a single land. Believing in the heart of the cards. But not actually drawing it. He does have some plays still. Blister Coil, or Blister Pod, picking up that rancor and starting the clock. Ryan with only 1 red mana available to him. He could kill the Blister Coil, but then of course rancor would come back and Turtle would be able to replay it. Still no lands here. And he sends Ryan, fires off an Electrickery, and that's going to clear both ones here. Oh, is Electrickery of a certain color? Let's see here. Nest Invader. Yeah, I feel like the plant token should be dead as well. I'm assuming that was kicked. I think kicking is only 1 in a red. Target creature. Yeah, so it'd been 1 damage to each creature that he doesn't control, so prohibit. Taking down that Blister Pod before it becomes a problem. And now a Hardcast Muldrifter, still no Tron. What do we got here? Mine, Power Plant, and Power Plant. He needs that tower, the best of the 3. Tower tapping for 3 mana. Once you've assembled Tron, the others all tapping for 2. And Turtle hamstrung in both of these games by his mana base. Rancor on a plant token, sending for 2. Muldrifter swinging for 2 back. Expedition Map is going to assemble Tron for Ryan here. Keeping some mana open to try and contain any type of play Turtle may have. He has another land here finally coming in. Now for a Nest Invader. And a Spore Frog. Spore Frog not likely to be of too much use here. And things about to get very out of hand here. Ryan getting that tower. In very, very good shape here. I think Tron is a absolute powerhouse in this format. But aggro strategies do tend to prevail. But here we see Tron just doing what it does, leveraging a massive mana advantage, drawing a ton of extra cards. So he's got such a card advantage here. Turtle with 6 cards in his hand, but Ryan can actually play so many more cards each turn if he chooses to. Another plant token entering the battlefield, but Rancor now. Rancor on the plant token. And Ulamog's Crusher finally entering the battlefield. And this is going to be a wrap pretty soon. Rancor does at least have a little bit of a diffusing effect there on the Annihilation trigger, but that's more, you know, when you're in a race. There's no real racing going on here. So Rancor going to be returned. 2 Turtles' hands, Lightning Bolt killing the plant token. And this is almost academic from here. It's going to be a couple of swings for Ryan. Turtle going to need to sacrifice 2 permanents. He can chump block or sacrifice the Spore Frog. I guess you just sack it, save yourself the damage. Better than a chump block. And now Tragic Slip. All right, well, there we go. Tragic Slip happening. Oh, we probably needed to do that pre-combat. Condescend is going to counter it. Could have saved himself the Annihilator trigger if he actually sacrificed this as the Spore Frog pre-combat. Does not need to be done during combat. You can sacrifice it any time. So would have saved himself a couple of permanents. But situation feeling pretty unwinnable, and Ryan moves on to the elimination rounds. That is the end of our Swiss here with our ELD Pauper Open. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.